On our screen today, we have two opposite sides of a square are each decreased by 10%, while the other two are each increased by 15% to form a rectangle. We have to find the ratio of the area of the rectangle to that of the square. Now, this question is just like we have a square, and this square is made, or there is something that happened to some of the sides to form a what? A rectangle. Do you understand? So let's consider that square. Let's say this is the square that we are having. We have this what? Square. And since the sides of a square are all equal, let's say here is B, and here is B, and here is B, and here is B. All the sides are what? Equal. That's one of the properties of a square. You understand? Now they say that two opposite sides are each decreased by 10%, and the other opposite sides are each increased by what? 15 what? Percent. Does it make sense? And now this decreasing and increasing, the purpose is to form a what? A rectangle. Now let's consider these two opposite what? Sides. Let them be what? Decreased by 10%. That's minus 10%. And let's consider these two opposite sides. Each of them increased by what? 15%. That's plus what? 15%. I hope you understand what I mean. Now watch out. If I decrease here by 10%, what am I going to form? Now, listen, decreasing by 10% is just like if I ask you decrease 15 naira by 10%, what are you going to do? The shortest way to get your answer is actually, now that 15 naira is 100%. That's the maximum level. 100 what? Percent. Now the 15 naira is a whole. Now when I say 100% is contained in the 15 naira, and I'm to remove what? 10%. Now 100% minus what? 10% will remain what? 90%. So what will be the 90% of that 15 naira? It will definitely be 90 over 100 times 50 over 1. Cancel 0, cancel 0, cancel 0, cancel 0. So I'm having what? 45 what? Naira. Does it make sense? So when I want to decrease 15 naira by 10%, I just have to remove 10% from 100%. We assume that the 15 naira is 100%. Do you understand? So if you remove the 10% from 100%, it's remaining 90%. Then check what's 90% of 15 naira to give you 45 naira. So 45 naira is the answer. Even if you want to if I were to increase 15 naira by 10%, now instead of minusing 10%, I'll add what? 10%. Do you understand the trend? Now that's the steps I'm going to take here and get our answer. Now, decreasing this side, decreasing B by 10%, we assume that the B is 100%. Now, removing 10% will remain how many percent? It will remain what? 90% again. Now, we ask ourselves, what's 90% of B? 90% of B is 90 over 100 times B over 1. Cancel 0, cancel 0. Does it make sense? Now, what's 9 over 10? 9 over 10 is 0.9, because I'm having 1 0 and its division. I'll move my point backwards. So I'm having 0.9 times B will give me 0.9B. Does it make sense? So it means that this side will now be 0.9b. The same thing applicable to this side, 0.9b. Now, I will consider this length, this size as well. Now, increasing this side by 15%. Increasing, we assume that the B is 100%, right? Now, increasing means addition. Now, we add 15%. Now, we're having 115 what percent. Now, let's increase B by 1 the 15%, we ask ourselves, what's 115% of B? 115 over 100 times B over 1. So 115 over 100, I'm having two zeros and its division. I'll move my points backward, 1, 2. So I'm having 1.15 times B. That's 1.15B. Does it make sense? Now look at the rectangle. Now this is the square, right? This is the square. And look at the rectangle, how the rectangle will look like. It will look like this. Now it will have here to be 115b, here will be 1.115b. That's what I mean. Here will be 0.9b, here will be what? 0.9b. And it makes a lot of sense to say that this is a what? A rectangle. Does it make sense? So the question is just like, we have a square whereby all the sides are equal, right? Do you understand? And we have increasing and decreasing in some of the sides. Do you understand? Now we increase here by 15%, we increase here by 15%, we reduce here by 10%, we reduce here by 10%, and we form something like this. Do you understand? So this size will shorten, while this side will what? Widen. Does it make sense? The length will now be increased. Do you understand? So they're asking us what we have to find the ratio of the area of the rectangle to that of the square. So they're asking us what's the ratio of the area of the rectangle to that of the area of the square. Now, what's the area of this rectangle? Area of a rectangle is given by length times width. Now, the area of the rectangle is equals what's length? The length is 1.15 b. 1.15 b times what's the width? 0.9 b. Now, area of the rectangle 1.15 b times 0.9 b is 1.035 b squared. And that's the area of the rectangle. Now, what's the area of the square? Area of the square is equals, area of the square is given by the formula length times length. So area of the square, let me clean this. Area of the square is equals, what's the length for here? Consider b times b, right? B times b. So area of the square is equals b squared. Now I've gotten the area of the square, I've gotten the area of the rectangle. But the question asks us, we should find the ratio of the area of the rectangle to that of the square. So it's actually telling us to find area of rectangle over area of squared, right? So area of rectangle, I got 1.035 b squared over area of squared. I got what? B squared, right? Over b squared. B squared will cancel b squared. They will give 1, 1, right? So area of rectangle over area of square is actually 1.035 over 1. So my answer is this, or you say 1.035 is to 1. And that makes a lot of sense. Does it make sense? Have a nice day. Like, comment, share, and follow Coziz Academy. Bye-bye.